Welcome to Folk Tales. I'm Dominic Zammit, director at Boatfolk, and throughout this series I'll be joined by a wealth of guests from the UK's boating community who will be sharing their stories of lives spent in, on or by the water. This is a podcast by Boatfolk for Boatfolk. Today's episode is part one of a two-part series with Dorset-based eco-warriors Oly Rush and Roy Beal, aka Instagram sustainability sensations Clean Jurassic Coast and Project Planet. Oly and Roy have been sharing their story with B Woodland from Portland Marina. Let's hear what they had to say.
Hi everyone, it's B here from Portland in Dorset, and I would like to introduce you to Roy Beal and Oly Rush, the two adventurers, beach clean warriors and all-round amazing and inspiring human beings who share our love of the planet, the sea and this beautiful Jurassic coast that we live on. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Yeah, all good.
Pretty good.
Awesome. So you are also known by some other names on social media, Clean Jurassic Coast and Project Planet. So tell us about the names. Where did they come from? How did you choose them?
Oly, you can go first.
So yeah, Project Planet. It's a pretty simple answer. We were driving back from Devon, been on a camping trip, and I said to Tess, I need to do something. I need to start up an Instagram page and raise a bit of awareness. And my better half said we were literally just brainstorming different names, and we came up with Project Planet. So we stuck with that one.
Like it.
It was simple as that.
Simple is often the best, I find.
Yeah.
Mine was, originally I was running the name Just Add Water, Not Plastic, named after my wooden kayak, also called Just Add Water. And then doing all the Jurassic Coast stuff, it was after I met Oly, actually, which I'm sure we'll come to later. It was around that sort of time when I thought, actually, Clean Jurassic Coast might be better suited to what we're doing. Went from there, really.
Nice. Okay, so that's the obvious thing then to lead on to is the fact that you can both be found, let's get that out there early, on social media, on Instagram and Facebook as Project Planet and Clean Jurassic Coast. So Clean Jurassic Coast is an organisation that you started, Roy.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us more about that. How did you start? How did you come up with the inspiration for it, and where did it come from?
Probably go back to when I was quite young, and my mum always instilled into us about not littering and looking after the planet. But realistically, probably when I started sea kayaking in 2013 and noticing all the plastics on the beaches, started picking them up. Just went from there until the last couple of years when it just seemed to get really bad. And probably around the time when David Attenborough came out with Blue Planet 2, and it really raised the awareness to the rest of the world, I think, about the plastic problem in the marine environment. That sort of got me off my bottom to actually just stop talking about doing these little initiatives and actually starting one. And my initial plan was, I don't know if Oly found the same thing. You start beach cleaning and you think, why is no one helping me? Why am I the only one doing this? And then you start thinking, actually, there are other people doing it, but maybe they feel alone as well. So I first started it to try and connect beach cleaners together, sort of like a hub of community, if you like, make a community. But it's just grown from that. And now we're actually a community interest company, and we're using it, doing education and trying to sell sustainable and eco products and sort of move forward on that.
Amazing. And that's kind of where I came across you post on Instagram and that sort of thing, creating events for beach clean. So yeah. Excellent. And so it all started for you, really, when you started the sea kayaking and what have you. So this all stems really from a shared love of the sea and the coastline.
Yeah.
And have you lived on the Jurassic Coast sort of your entire life?
I've always lived in Devon. If I haven't lived on the coast, I've certainly lived near rivers or some source of water. But I haven't been far from the coast at any time. Yeah, I've always grown up on boats and in kayaks and stuff like that.
How about you, Oly?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I grew up in Dorset, but we've always been near the sea, and every sort of holiday we used to go on as kids was always either down in Devon or Cornwall. So it's just a mutual love for the sea, really, that started all of this, I think.
And how did you guys meet? Because you haven't known each other all that long, have you?
It feels like we've known each other for years. Crazy.
We met because Oly put a thing out on Instagram how much rubbish he was finding at Chapmans Pool, asking if anybody had a boat. I got in touch to say I've got a kayak, if that's any good. And we just got yapping and just arranged to meet up and just kind of hit it off. We've got the same ideals and the same sort of philosophies, and we want the same thing at the end of the day of just a cleaner planet. Become pretty good mates, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it's worked out quite well. It's fate. I'm sure things happen. 100%. I think things happen for a reason, and I think we were supposed to meet, weren't we, Roy?
We were.
And it's been awesome, hasn't it?
It has been awesome. Yeah, and not only have we, I think, inspired many others just off the back of what we do, but Oly especially, his Instagram posts are really good. He's really clever with his banter. And I think that helps with the education and pulling people in to come and want to join us.
Yeah.
But I think, we make a good team.
So you've been beach cleaning along this coast for, sort of quite a few years now. And obviously you're building the community around that, and it's growing and growing, which is amazing to see. And I think you're right. The Blue Planet definitely inspired quite a lot of people to get off the sofa and actually go out and do something about it. But there's still a lot of education and to explain to people why we need to look after the coastline and not dump our rubbish in it. Of all the things you've seen when you've been beach cleaning, is there anything that's been like really upsetting or really horrible that you just thought destroyed your faith in humanity to an extent?
Yeah. There's plenty to say on that, I think, isn't there, Oly?
Yeah.
Everything from finding the remains of seabirds with fishing line around them, through to the end of lockdown 1 with the mess that we were clearing up at Durdle Door. Seeing the way, hopefully a minority, there are so many thousands there, but seeing the way people were just leaving their mess behind. And it wasn't just bottles and broken gazebos and camping chairs. It was a lot worse than that. I don't know if we want to say on this podcast, but it was pretty disgusting what we found.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. And it's just, I think another thing is just the quantities of stuff that you find. Putting Durdle Door to aside, that was absolutely horrendous what happened there in the summer. But just at like Chapmans Pool or any of these places that collect the plastic, the amount of plastic that's in the ocean is what really shocks me, to be honest, and what probably made me think I need to do something about this, because it's just incredible the amount of plastic that's actually out there.
Yeah, well, how many times have we been at Chapman's and it's a bit stormy and we're actually watching the plastics wash in on every single wave?
Yeah,
the waves crash on the beach, don't they? And as they wash away, there's a tide line of plastics.
Yeah, it's scary. And I think once you've seen that, there's no going back then, really. It sort of opens your eyes to it and you have to do something about it.
Yeah, and I think from that as well, it's the important thing from saying that you're seeing all this sort of stuff in places like Chapman's Pool, which is, let's face it, fairly inaccessible to the average person in terms of it's down a lot of steps and steep footpaths. So you're not really going to walk down a huge amount unless you are out and about and you know that it's there. And generally speaking, I guess you guys access it from the water in the kayaks?
Well, we walk down there, but it's sort of places like Chapman's Pool. It's not generally stuff. Well, to be honest, I've never really seen much that's been left at Chapman's Pool.
Yeah,
it's stuff that washes in, all the flotsam and jetsam, and it's in the sea, and all the currents there. It just brings it all and collects it in one place. And when it comes in there, it sort of never leaves, and it just gets smashed up into small pieces, which is why sort of I personally focus my efforts there, try and get it up before it smashes into the smaller bits. And then obviously you can't really do a lot about it then once it's broken down in small bits, gets in the food chain and so on. So, yeah.
So what's the biggest amount in one hit that you've had to take off of a beach in terms of weight, I suppose, is something that everybody can relate to?
Chapman's, any time I've helped Oly, we've regularly got 80, 100 kilograms off at a time, haven't we?
Yeah, like crazy amounts.
A couple of months ago, 6 of us near Seaton, we went about a mile down the coast, walking along a shingled beach. And between 6 of us, we brought back 220 kilograms of plastic.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun.
Nuts.
Yeah, that's my personal biggest load in one hit.
But we do like a mission. This is it, Roy. You see, we're all a bit doom and gloom, but actually, we have a blooming good laugh when we go out. We do have a good laugh, and it's almost a mission to collect as much as obviously, we don't want this stuff washing up, but you've got to have fun at the same time, and you've got to make it. Otherwise, no one's going to come and give you a hand. If you're there miserable about it, down about it, then no one's going to join in. So we do have a bit of a laugh. We do.
We're trying to make beach cleaning cool. Whether it works or not.
I think you do a good job. You definitely do a good job.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask what the most satisfying part in terms of the beach cleans or just running Clean Jurassic Coast in in general. Like, what's the most satisfying part of that for you?
For me, you meet loads of good people, which is always nice. I think just the satisfying thing is just knowing that when you've spent a few hours or a day cleaning all the bags of rubbish off the beach, you just know that you've made a difference. The little saying is every piece is a victory, and every piece is a potential life saved. A fish or an animal isn't going to eat it. So I think that's probably the most satisfying thing, is just knowing that you are making a difference, even though sometimes it feels like you're making a very small dent in the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd say a similar thing, really. I think it's the whole knowing that there is actually a big community out there doing it. Because like Roy said earlier, when we first started out, we were thinking, no, it's just us, no one else is doing it, which was a bit of a short, because we were new to it, perhaps, the actual beach cleaning side of things. It was like, oh, no one else is doing this, but there is a massive community and it is growing as well. I think the whole environmental movement, if you like, is just growing exponentially at the moment. I think people are waking up and realising that we need to take responsibility for our actions to, minimise our impact, because there's a lot of us and there's only one planet, so we need to look after it.
Absolutely. How much do you think that's been affected by the issues during the first lockdown or just afterwards, when everyone sort of flocked down to the beaches and what have you? And we've seen some fairly horrific behaviour in terms of the amount of rubbish that's been left behind. But how much do you think that this pandemic has also maybe given people the opportunity to get involved with this, actually, when maybe they would be too busy otherwise with their day-to-day lives to jump in or something on something like this?
I think we were lucky in the summer with so many people on furlough and wanting something to do. And we were just arranging lots of little beach cleans up and down the Jurassic coast. And we've got quite a few regulars coming along. The pandemic's helped on that, just because people have got free time and they've seen the state of the place out there and they feel inspired to come and join us. It's been good for that. But conversely, a lot of people have been on furlough, a lot of people are visiting the beaches and probably making it a little bit worse than it would otherwise have been in the first place. But we'll take the positive that lots of people help.
Just going to spring this question on you slightly, that one of the projects that you've been working with is the Ocean Recovery Project with Neil at Keep Britain Tidy. And watching their video on Instagram of the amount of bodyboards discarded and picked up on the beaches, and the project they did with the surfboard, which is well worth having a look at on their Instagram page. Yeah, that was quite eye-opening, I think.
I've just started working part-time for them, just a few days a month helping out, which is brilliant. So I'm starting to see the inside of what they're doing, what they're trying to achieve, and how all the plastics to get taken to a processing plant and they get cleaned and shredded, and then they'll get made into things like picnic benches and fence posts and stuff like that. And it's a lot of the plastics that they're shredding are plastics that aren't normally recyclable. So it's pretty good from that point of view. They're doing lots of good things.
Okay, that's cool. And just briefly, do you want to give us a quick sort of rundown of the Ocean Recovery Project and what they're doing? Yeah,
basically any hard plastics. So even sort of plastic bottles are probably about the softest plastics they might go to. So they get taken to a recycling facility in Exeter and say shredded into smaller plastics that can then be reused and remade into other products. But they're also promoting other stuff. There's lots of stuff I think they would like to do in the future, but I'll leave that to Neil.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, I think the thing that I found fascinating when I spoke to Neil recently was that it's all stuff, all the plastics they use was recovered from the marine environment.
Absolutely, yeah. I was with them Monday and Tuesday. We went to Cornwall to pick up a shipment, a small container full of plastics that got shipped over from the Isles of Scilly, and then took that up to the Exeter plant for, I don't know what you call it, reuse, should we say? Yeah, recycling. Yeah.
So I guess that kind of feeds into the question a little bit of what happens to the stuff that you pick up on the beaches, because it's not so easy to then dispose of it. At least it's taken out of the marine environment, but going into landfill's not so great either.
No,
so.
I mean, it depends on how much we're collecting from one beach clean, but some of it can go. I know, for instance, Ollie's taken stuff back to his place and just put it into his recycling at home. Sometimes we can get the council to collect stuff and hopefully they'll recycle it correctly. Some of it literally does just go in the bin, either goes, well, I think most of it nowadays goes to incinerator, which is then creating energy to go into the national grid. But obviously there's pros and cons with burning plastics. I know their emissions systems are pretty good, but I don't know how good.
Yeah, I don't know enough about. I know that there's all the waste that goes from the boat folk marinas, generally speaking, or a lot of the waste that goes from the boat folk marinas on the south coast will go to the energy recovery facility in Marchwood and Portsmouth, I think. And so I mean, I guess the thing is though that once you've burnt it, you can't get it back. So if, in the future, if you're able to then recycle or recover it, then it's gone. Yeah, which is a shame.
But the lesser of the evils at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Oly, you did you were both involved in the swim over this summer just gone. So you swam the Jurassic coast, essentially, all 96 miles of it, or just over, from Exmouth to Studland Bay. Over 9 days, I think, was it?
Yeah, we did. That's right. So it was definitely a group challenge. I'm 100%. I got to say that because I would never have been able to do it without Roy. But yeah, it was in the end it was 100 miles because we did a little extra bit. We thought we'd do a little extra bit at the end to round it up, as you do. But yeah, it was epic.
Just a few more miles there.
Yeah, it's had a few on the end. Yeah, it's incredible, really. I mean, I can talk about that all day, so it depends what you want to hear about the swim.
Crack on. I've got all evening, so yeah, no.
Well, where do we start on the swim, Roy? So where did it all begin? I think we were in...
Originally, you wanted to swim from Lulworth to Chapmans Pool.
That was and we thought that was a big swim, didn't we? We were like, I don't know, it's probably perhaps a little bit too far. I'll have to do a lot of training for that. And then somehow it was like, you know what, let's swim the Jurassic coast.
Yeah. And then your training was relentless.
Yeah, I was, again, like we're going back to, the benefits of lockdown. I suppose there was a benefit there, was I wasn't working, I wasn't able to work, so I had a lot of time in my hands. My girlfriend's laughing in the background. So I had a lot of time in my hands, so I was able to do a lot of training for the swim. So I was out training, a couple of hours each day in the sea, doing some big swims with Roy on the kayak and just really getting used to having a kayak there. Mm-hmm. Something to keep looking up at when we're swimming. He keeps me in a straight line, so I don't swim into any cruise ships or anything.
Keep you fed and watered.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm laughing here. Sorry, I've done a sea swim once, and I started off at the beach, ran into the water, and then swam basically straight into the middle of the course and into a kayak, smacked my head, and then they had to kind of follow me around the entire course to keep on straight narrow. So that's why I was laughing at that one, because I know how hard it is to swim in a straight line in the sea or anywhere.
It's difficult, but when you got the kayak, we had it absolutely dialed. We've always done a lot of these swim events and things before, so we knew what he was doing. It was really brilliant because I'm used to having to look up every sort of 10 strokes to see where I was going. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the swim, I just put my head up and I got Roy smiling at me or pulling a face, or we were pulling a faces at each other the whole time. So it was pretty cool.
Amazing.
I'll tell you what, I have kayaks with a lot of swimmers. I've done a lot of swim events, safety support and stuff like that. But that guy right there, young Oly there, he's got hands the size of shovels. So he goes along with a bare old lick. He just flies along, and we were knocking up 20 odd kilometres a day most days, weren't we, in the end, I think?
Wow.
Yeah, the longest swim was the one we did it at Chapmans Pool, didn't we? Did a little victory lap at the end because I wanted to beat my previous longest swim.
Yeah.
I think it was 21 kilometres. We got to Chapmans Pool and I looked at my watch and it was like 21.2 or something. I said, Roy, can we do a few laps of the pool to get it up to 22?
That's right.
So we managed to get it up to 22 at Chapmans Pool, which was quite fitting, I thought.
It was definitely fitting, yeah. But no, it was that was a good challenge. I mean, it was the second or the third day when we set off from Branscombe. Bear in mind, it's the end of August. It was a hailstorm. So we had unique conditions, didn't we, on that one? And then 2 days later, we're sunbathing and almost getting heat stroke when we got a heat wave. It was amazing.
Luckily, Roy's a bit of almost a bit of a Boy Scout, if you like. He rigged up a little bit of a shelter from his kayak and he had a tarpaulin. And I'm flaked out at this point. I was quite tired. Where was it, Roy? Ringstead?
That was Ringstead.
Or just down at Ringstead. So he's set up this tarpaulin. I got ginger hair. I don't do too well in the sun. So we're tucked under this tarpaulin, snoring away. Oh, brilliant.
Still hot, but it kept the sun off us.
Yeah, it did the job.
And so you were wide camping as you hopped along the coast?
Yeah.
Or were you sleeping in were you sort of safe for surfing or?
Well, I camped on the beaches.
I'm going to quickly butt in now because I know what he's going to say. To use Roy's words, I was lording it up in my van. So I was sleeping in the back of my van on a nice mattress and a comfy memory foam mattress. And Roy was sleeping on the beach in his bivouac.
You got to keep the swimmer safe. So, yeah.
And was there any points where you thought that this is not going so well? This is, maybe this isn't such a good idea, or are we going to get into trouble here? Or?
No, the first day we got about half an hour into it, if that, and realised that Exmouth firing range was live, and the safety boat came over to have a chat with us.
Oh,
yeah, that was a bit of a moment. That one.
That was a bit of a moment. It was the gunfire gave it away. But we had a quick chat with them, told them what we were doing, and bless them, they managed to hold off the firing for half an hour, and the boat escorted us through the range. So we didn't have to do, I think it was about 2 miles out to sea detour to go around it. So that was nice. So it started off well. But then after that, it was fairly plain sailing, wasn't it? I think the second day was a bit rough, conditions-wise. The third day was our first big day, wasn't it? Because we went from Branscombe to Charmouth.
Yeah, that was awesome. So I'm very lucky because I loved every minute of it. I love swimming.
Yeah.
But I think that, like Roy says, when the boat came along, the military boat, I think Roy sort of stopped me and said, "We've got a problem." And I thought, "Oh no, what's going on?" I thought maybe his kayak was sinking or something. And he said the range was closed. We had to go around, but I struggled a little bit because I pulled my elbow on that. And then I had a bad elbow for the rest of the swim. So that was quite tricky. So we were dosing up on painkillers.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Not the best thing to have right at the start, is it?
Not after all that training, I didn't have one problem. And then the first day of the swim, because I was swimming as fast as I could to get past this range, because the bloke had said, you're going to have to swim quickly. And Roy had already told him, "Don't worry, he's a quick swimmer." So I thought, well, I'm going to have to swim quick.
Yeah, they want to know what a fast swimmer was like.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
And what was the high point of the swim? Was there a particularly magical point where you were just like, "This is amazing"?
I'll let you answer first.
There were quite a few high points. I think one of the various high points were just various people that came along and met us, which was really nice to see all that support. Getting the tides right around Portland.
That was cool.
Well chuffed with that one. We were fast around there, weren't we? That was
crazy. I think my average pace in like normal conditions swimming, I think for a kilometre, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I think it's about 15 minutes. I might be wrong. But I know that we were doing something like 8-minute kilometres going around. We were absolutely flying around Portland. It felt like we had obviously you have got to be careful. You've got to get it right. But that's where Roy came in amazing and planned all the tides. It was nice because I just had to turn up and swim. Roy had to do all the hard work.
With Portland, going the other way, you've actually got a bigger tide window, but going anti-clockwise, as it were, there's a shorter tide window to get round. But obviously, luckily, it was nice and calm, so we had the inside passages, as it's called, when you're staying close to the bill.
Yeah.
But I just knew it was almost going to be military precision with the timing to get that right, and we nailed that one. I was happy with that one. So that was a high point.
I love the fact that so many people in boats. Portland Bill and Portland Race kind of strikes fear into the hearts of seafarers everywhere, and you're just like, just swim it.
It was incredible, and I had my friends and family all up. I had a couple of friends that had come down, and I didn't realise it was going to be there. And I'm swimming along and thinking, "Oh, hey man!" And I stopped to wave. Next thing I know, I've gone past them because the tide's going that quick. I promise it wasn't like that the whole time. I did have to swim. But round Portland, it did feel like I was cheating, to be honest, because we had such a good tide.
Yeah, good that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
When there's a helping hand, you got to take it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. The lowest point for me, for continuing on this theme, was that last bit from Chapmans to Studland. Got the tides right, but didn't know about a massive back eddy that comes off St Oldham's Head. We got caught in that. Poor old Oly, I don't think he's ever swum so hard in his life, but it put us behind, and then we had the tide against us as we're going past Swanage all the way to Old Harry.
That was seriously difficult. Yeah.
That was a low point for me because I got it so right all the way through up until that point, and but the back eddy's not mentioned on the Admiralty charts.
No, so we'll let you off. We'll let you off for that one.
Yeah, I have
But
since found it in a yachting almanac that I found, and it's mentioned in there, but I didn't have that one at the time. So,
Have you forgiven him for that, Ollie?
Yeah, I'll let him off. To be honest, the last day for me was like a combined low and high, because the swim was an absolute nightmare. We got caught in that back eddy. It was pretty much swimming backwards.
Yeah. And
then going through past Swanage, chap goes past in his dinghy, and he was like, "Are you the guy that was on TV?" Oh, yeah. So that was quite funny. That was not the high point. And then he said, "You do know the tide's going against you now?" I'm like, "Yeah, cheers."
Thanks, mate.
Swam round Old Harry against the tide. It was a spring tide. And my mate in the kayak said, "I don't know how you just swam around there," because I struggled kayaking around there. And I've absolutely got nothing left. And then my old swimming coach, who helped me train, Mark Newman, I've got to give him a little shout out. He's a legend. He actually swam out and joined me. So that was an awesome moment, having him come out and swim with us for the last little bit.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, good fun.
What incredible lives Oly and Roy are living. In the next episode of Folk Tales, we'll hear more about their mission to protect our planet. See you then.